Last night, I had the opportunity to do a show with the Ramil Amir YouTube channel. And we discussed a very important topic called Black Men Love Their Mothers Too Much. And in this show, we wanted to target the niche of African American men raised by single moms. We're not talking about black men raised by their fathers or black men in adoption or nothing. We're talking about African American men raised by single moms. And we wanted to say that these particular brothers have a skewed view of their mother's true nature, right? They fail to criticize the things that she has done wrong. They pretty much paint her as a superhero type of figure. And typically that mother has coddled the brother where he cannot compete with other groups of men. I'm talking about white, Asian, and guys like that. And this leads ultimately black women being upset with him, right? Now, it's funny because Rom had an article that says that black women create the men that they complain about. But that's another show. We won't talk about that today. Going forward in the conversation, I heard George Macon, another YouTuber. He did a video telling black women they need to stop spoiling their sons, right? This is the same thing that Ramil Amir is saying. You know, you're coddling your sons. The sons can't become protectors. These black boys become, pretty much worthless. And when they get around another woman, he's not an asset, right? He's an anchor to the relationship. But see, here's what we're telling black women about their sons. But one thing that we never tell black women is, why do black women, and to a larger extent, the black community, when it comes to dating advice, how often has black mothers and certain black fathers said it was okay for a young black man who has no kids, who has no criminal record, who has everything going for in his life, to date a woman that already has a child? You see that? And see, that's something that we never talk about in the black community. But see, we want to know why so many black men end up with single moms, stuff like that. The thing about it is, nobody wants to talk about it, is that's being taught to black men. Especially, I'm going to call out, certain in pro-black communities. When it comes to black men and let me talk about other groups. Other groups of men that have, their guys doing great things, they're never going to tell their sons, it is okay for you to date a woman that don't have no kids. It never happens. It's not a part of the conversation. It's more like, if you bring me home a woman that has a child, I'm going to pretty much disown you, right? You better not do that. You would be a fool to do that. Don't you throw away your life dealing with a woman that has a kid. Now, I can see some extenuating circumstances, like she has the kid lives with some, it's in boarding school somewhere or something like that. But do you know what the black community tells black men? And I got to get on my boy George Macon. Dating a single mother ain't the end of the world. Marrying a woman and a kid ain't the end of the world. See, I love my brother, right? I call him, I talk to him every day, but I got to get on him today. He got to learn today. This type of stuff in narrative, in talking points, I know brother Sonetta has said it, because they love black folks, right? We cannot tell young black men. And obviously I got to be fair to both of those brothers. I'm pretty sure they would tell their own personal sons that, hey man, you shouldn't marry a woman that don't have a kid if you don't have a kid, right? We know that. But at the same time, you cannot say There is nothing wrong with you marrying a woman or dealing with a woman that got a kid. But what happens is the black community is encouraging young black men to make a choice of no return. And what y'all don't know is y'all are encouraging brothers to get with women that have ready-made families. That's what's going on here. And even if you are silent on the issue, if you take a stance that is neutral or a stance of neutrality, you are guilty as charged on the downfall of successful and talented African American men in this country. Yes, you are. Because if you want black men to compete, you want them to be successful, you better not fix your mouth to tell any black man or young black man it is okay for you to date this woman or marry this woman that got a child. Only extenuating circumstance that I will accept. Maybe two. The dad is dead or in jail, and I still wouldn't even do that. Or my favorite, the child is not there. The child lives with someone else, which is skeptical. And even then, that shouldn't be. It should be looked at with false. It should be looked at with suspicion. Pro-black communities that have this narrative, I'm watching you. Because the pro-black community, I'm calling out names. If you are people in the Nation of Islam, if you are people in Black Hebrew Israelites, if you are Kemetic, if you are any of these groups, and I know a lot of these groups tend to have a lot of women in it, black men of any religious order, we have to tell our young black men, they deserve much better than this. And it's no shot to the women, right? But what are you teaching the women? If you will tell young black men it's not the end of the world, you pretty much are telling the women, oh, it's okay for me to go out and get pregnant by who I want to get pregnant by. And then have a young brother that's up and coming, or that might have a good job or might doing something. Somebody gonna take care of me in the black community, because we don't judge folk. And meanwhile, in the Asians community, or in the white community, or in the Russian community, man, they people not gonna tell them that, not the ones that are doing well. And see, we have to be honest with ourselves. You cannot talk about strengthening up black men and black boys if you do not install standards into them at a young age. Man, listen, if you deal with a single mom, brother, you need to stay away from that if you don't have no kids. But see, here's the situation. You know why parents can't say that? You know why some black fathers can't say that? You know why my father couldn't say that? You know why my mother couldn't say that? My mom already had a child before she met my dad. My dad had 2 kids before he met. So they in a situation where the way it worked out for me. I mean, look at how I turned out. That's what they always gonna say. Well, it looked out for me. This is what happened. See, here's the thing. Just because you made a mistake, just because you did that, and I will say it, that is a mistake, in my opinion. Some people gonna have to be upset with me about it or whatever. I'm talking about my own family. Listen here, if you are up and coming brother and you got something to offer the world, and right now, if you get with somebody that have a live-in child and you dealing with them, except for the circumstances that I'm talking about, you are making a mistake in your damn life. And people don't want to call it as a mistake because you don't want to be looked at as a hypocrite. The pro-black community cannot tell young black men it's not the end of the world. Yes, it is. It actually is the end of the world. Because you're taking care of a child that ain't yours. You might end up paying child support if you break up with a child that's yours, ain't yours. You're going to have baby daddy drama with a crazy Negro that you shouldn't deal with. You got to deal with his crazy family that you have to deal with. Those are problems that you don't need. And how can you rebuild black men when you Negro? Let me stop. Some of y'all are encouraging lightweight. That it's okay. At least let me say this. I'm going to use this in the wrong, in a different context. Have the audacity at least. Have the nerve. Have the mitigated gall to say, I made the mistake of that. It's wrong, and therefore you shouldn't make the mistake. That is a lot better. I would love to hear that from y'all. I would love to hear that from my mama. I would have loved to hear that from my daddy. But you know what? It took a lukewarm approach. Everything else was don't do as I say, don't do as I do. But until it came to dealing with a woman that had a child. I damn near lost my life dealing with a chick that had a child. Crazy ass family and baby daddy and all that. Man, listen. A lot of these brothers right now are in prison running behind some girl that had a damn baby daddy and got into a baby daddy and got killed or got shot. That's what it come down to. If you want to keep black men out of jail, I'll tell you how you do it. Leave women with kids alone. That's the number one thing. That's going to reduce the jail sentences right there. A lot of brothers in the pen over something like that. It ain't really all the time drugs. It got to deal with a lot of times behind women. And if we tell black men, young black boys, don't you start dealing with these women that have, you know what's going to happen? These young women are going to get the picture quick. Uh-oh, I got to save myself. And that's why I say, if the black community and the African American community start arranging marriages between blacks, even if it's interculturally, we'll fix that. We'll stop that from happening. I'm going to tell you, you will stop that from happening real quick. Because young women will want to do that, and there's no shot at anybody. I'm just saying, you cannot talk about building successful black men and being lukewarm on the fact that you are lightweight encouraging young black men to deal with young women who have children. And the question I have for you, are you encouraging your son to deal with a woman that has a child? The answer is yes or no. If you are lukewarm on it, the answer is yes. You want to encourage your son to be poor? You want to encourage your son to have financial strain? You want to encourage your son to have stress? Have him date women that have kids. That's the best way to do it. You want to ruin your life? That's the number one way to do it. Financially, you want him to get ruined quick? Do that. But we're not telling young black men that. And it's wrong. It's wrong. And the buck stops here, right in the black manosphere. So, brothers, hope you enjoyed the message. I appreciate you for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell. This is your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson. I appreciate all of you, brothers. Subscribe to your boy on Patreon, patreon.com/Negro Manosphere. I really thank you, brothers, for all that you do. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.